Ireland, I think you see something of what is so great about the United States. And I must say that in the United States, through millions of your sons and daughters and cousins, 25 million, in fact, you see something of what is great about Ireland.
We've seen and heard so much about the strength of the bond between Ireland and America that we sometimes take it for granted. The facts tell us we shouldn't. In the last decade, according to the US Census, the number of Irish Americans has fallen from 44 million to 38. So where have all the Ryans and the Murphys and Mahonys gone? The answer is nowhere. It's just they didn't feel Irish enough to describe themselves as anything else than Americans.
For many Americans, particularly those of Irish heritage, there's a strong bond with Ireland, and it's an important part of people's lives.
The strongest selling point for Ireland is its people.
To Áthis Odom Main Ellen, I am happy to be in Ireland.
If you watch the recent welcome that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama got in Montreal, and even the throngs in Dublin, the minute people come here and connect with people and know the island, I think it forever changes their view about the place, and it has a positive resonance with them. The Irish cannot simply assume that Ireland, a small country of 4 million people, will forever be at the top of everybody's mind and agenda in America. There are more than 500 American companies that are based in Ireland as their foothold into Europe, including Google and Facebook and Microsoft. It requires an effort from both Irish and Americans to assure that future generations are going to remain connected to this island.
The George J. Mitchell Scholarship is the flagship program for the US-Ireland Alliance. By funding the brightest and most committed young US scholars to study and forge connections in Ireland, it addresses the future of the Irish-American relationship at source.
With our George Mitchell Scholarship Program, the idea, the concept behind it, where you pick young people who look like they're going to be future American leaders, whether they're Irish or not, to come to this island and study at any university, anything they want.
Well, these scholarship recipients are all college graduates. All of them have excelled in their academic studies in their colleges throughout the United States.
I got really excited about the Mitchell Scholarship because it kind of combines a lot of things that I'm interested in. So I could not only study in Ireland, but also do an internship and really get to know the culture.
Jasmine was the president of the student body at the University of Washington, and I was on the board there.
And the year after I was president, they started to talk about a fee that they were going to implement.
She and her colleagues sued me and other members of the board over an issue about tuition and service charges, and actually she won, so I'm a fan of hers.
I have been an actor since I was 7 years old, and I was a student of drama at Northwestern University before I came in Chicago. And I was abroad for a year studying in Berlin. The resources available here to study Beckett are really unrivaled.
The Mitchell Scholarship takes a very active effort in ensuring that you have a quality experience in Ireland.
We make sure they have interesting internships. They usually meet the president, the prime minister, so when they come back to the US, they had such fond memories about their time in Ireland that they stay involved.
I'm so delighted that many of you have come here without the slightest Irish connection whatsoever, which is in many respects very liberating.
I would never have gotten an opportunity to do this subject at all if I hadn't gotten the Mitchell Scholarship. So I was incredibly grateful to have an opportunity to study writing in Ireland, of all places, which, as President Obama said, is the perfect place to go for writers.
I know that this experience here will allow me to reconnect in the future with Ireland.
That time, that experience is undoubtedly going to play into what we do back in the United States.
I mean, I think Kyle and I will both probably say the same thing, probably a year of our lives.
What we'd like to do in the future is create a way to teach American students about Ireland. And if we can get an entirely new generation of Americans to visit Ireland, that can have a profound effect.
You know, the benefits of the Mitchell Scholarship go way beyond the experience of the 12 students who take part every year. For example, the scholarship raises the profile of Irish universities in the American consciousness and also persuades other students to come to Ireland and complete their education. In fact, the list of benefits goes on.
When the U.S.-Ireland Alliance was created in 1998, the question was, could we interest an entirely new generation of Americans, whether they were Irish Americans or any Americans, in a future relationship with the island of Ireland? We started with a golf tournament to bring over American corporate executives to meet with their Irish counterparts in the hope that business deals can be done because of that.
Bringing those people to Ireland, so to demonstrate to them that there is a world that they can get involved in a business and cultural way that has changed utterly.
The power language of the future is networks. It's the fact that like-minded people can meet each other over whether it's a coffee morning or over lunch or over breakfast. And I think an organisation like the US-Ireland Alliance allows that, enables us to meet our colleagues across the water.
Ireland's biggest calling card in the US probably today is culture and arts. People are interested, and a lot of it had to do with the start of Riverdance. It was Riverdance and U2 and Maeve Binchy. It's theatre, it's Martin McDonagh, it's the actors, it's Colin Farrell and Liam Neeson and Gabriel Byrne. Culture of Ireland is the place where Ireland does punch above its weight.
It is a real honor to be here. This is a beautiful evening.
I'd like to thank my good Irish friend, Tom Cruise, for being here tonight.
I love it.
I am so grateful, I'm honored, I'm humbled, and I'm Irish. Sláinte.
Maybe a few years from now I can come here and become Irish.
You're all Irish here. You know how to talk. I can't talk.
And the concept behind it is to honor the Irish in film. We honored Jim Sheridan and Neil Jordan and David Holmes.
I'm a music supervisor in films, Buffalo Soldiers, Out of Sight, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12.
But the real underlying purpose of the event is to introduce people in the film industry in Ireland to people in the film industry in LA in hopes that more business deals and movie making will come from that.
America is very important to me. Things happen. There's people who want to meet you, and there's people who want to sit down and talk to you about a project. I mean, I could have meetings lined up every day to meet different directors, different writers, you know, different producers. The work is definitely there. Thank you very much.
It's critical for Ireland to continue a good and positive relationship with America. And it's also important for America to understand that, as they do, and use our unique position on the edge of Europe.
Imagining the future is difficult enough, let alone investing in it. Who knows what the relationship between Ireland and America will look like and feel like in 10 years, in 20 years' time? The key is to identify the movers and the shakers, the players and the policymakers who will shape that relationship. Right now, they're students, postgraduates, interns, apprentices, if you like, who are reaching the most important stage of their formative years. The question is, where will they spend those years?
I do have an intention of hopefully entering politics or working for government down the line.
I'm curious about building up resources here and abilities for a company that may eventually lead back to the United States, back to bringing styles that I learn here.
I'm always thinking about Ireland and how we can keep the connection between the US and Ireland, because I think it's tremendously important.
The US-Ireland Alliance is not just an investment in the futures of the individual scholars, but in our respective futures, as nations, as peoples, as friends, and for that we are profoundly grateful.
This little country that inspires the biggest things, your best days are still ahead. Our greatest triumphs in America and Ireland alike are still to come. Is Fader Ling? Yes, we can. And may God bless between our two great nations.